Body position. So I guess the purpose of this video is to highlight the importance of correct body position for not only the beginner guys but also the experienced. It's important to understand here that even Olympic rowers and advanced rowers, elite athletes, still have incorrect body position in some instances, and it's especially important to try and prevent injury, number one, and also to make sure our crew are all in the correct position at the catch and at the finish, so we all have a good stroke every single stroke. So to start off with, I know every single rower knows this, but let's just highlight it again. We'll just get some red happening over here. If you look at my little muscle man over this side, he's been hitting the gym, unlike his skinny little brother over here. He's been hitting the gym and eating all the right foods. His legs are by far his strongest muscles. Number one. Number two is the bodies. Number two, second strongest muscle, and number three are the arms. Some people obviously have massive arms. I mean, there's obviously guys out there who just try and press as much as possible and get massive arms and have tiny legs, but they should be staying in the gym with their pants on because nobody wants to see that. They look like a triangle, and if they do go outside, there might be a gust of wind and they'll probably fall over. So it's really important. Make sure your legs, strongest muscle, remember that. Through the drive here, the very first start of the drive, number one, that is where our legs are driving down. I'm going to make another video in a couple of weeks about the drive sequence, so the legs, bodies, arms, and the importance of that. But for now, just remember that through this very first part of the drive, number one here, all of this power from the legs is travelling up the spine, travelling through the arms, into the handle, and down the shaft of the blade. The shaft of the oar, sorry, into the blade down here. Excuse the crossing over there, but if all of this power is going into your back and spine, your spine and your arms and that sort of thing, and your spine is in the wrong position, all of that force is going to go into your spine and do damage, essentially, which is really bad. It's what we want to avoid. What we see a lot with beginners is really big head guy over here. His back is in a C section like that, and most of you would go, oh, my back has never looked like that. I guarantee you there's at least 5 in every squad of 10 that have started off in this position. The number one cause, laziness. Lazy. Number two cause, bum position. Now, laziness is essentially because all day, every day, when you're at school, when you're wandering around, even when you're walking, if you're slouching your shoulders, if you're slouching in your chair, which you're probably doing right now, so fix that for me now, all of that is making your muscles in your back here extremely weak. So they're not getting used to holding your back in this strong upright position. They're getting this big curve happening. So what will happen is you end up looking like this couch potato guy right here in this picture. So the pelvis down here is on an angle heading off in that direction. The spine is actually going to head off in this direction. So the lower back is curved, heading off in that direction, in the opposite direction to this arrow, and then the upper part of the back is having to curve around there. So the spine ends up in a big curve. What we want to aim to look like is, or what we really want at the moment at least, is this neutral position where the spine is straight up and down, and you can see the pelvis is perpendicular to the water. Obviously you can't see your pelvis when you're rowing, but it's a good idea just to think about keeping your spine straight up and in that forward position like that. Let's get rid of this. So this big curve is because of laziness. Big curve because our muscles are really weak. So all we got to do is all day, every day, when you're walking, when you're sitting, everything, sit up nice and tall, sit up nice and straight, get the shoulders back, tits out for the girls, tits out for the girls, yeah. So you are sitting up nice and strong, you've got a big breath full of air, and the muscles can get stronger. The next thing is bum position. If you're sitting on the back of your bum, so you're sitting on your pelvis, sorry, not on your pelvis, you're sitting on your coccyx back here, and you're sitting, there's my seat, if you're sitting on the back of your bum here, your back is going to shoot out in that direction, your spine, and then your upper back is going to want to head off in that direction, so you're going to get a curve happening the whole time. If you have a look at this guy right here, this is a really good example of the wrong body position. Actually, we won't look at that guy just yet. We'll have a look at this guy who is a bit of a novice. Obviously, he's at a gym. I don't think he's using my ergo much, and this is a bit of a funky ergo. He's sitting on the back of his bum here, right here. So he's sitting right on his coccyx bone at the back here. Because of that, his spine, his lower spine, is shooting out in this direction. It's wanting to travel in that direction. Then his upper back is having to curve around. If you can see the little cursor there, his upper back is curving around forward, just like that. So his whole back is doing a big C shape. In this C shape position, what's actually happening is, I'll just change to another colour for you, dark blue. If your spine is normally like this, and these are my vertebrae, so bits of bone, that's essentially what your spine is, bits of bone like that. It's a very dodgy diagram. I apologise to all the med students, potential med students out there. Between the vertebrae are a whole bunch of pads, and if you do any PE and that sort of thing, it's much more involved than this, but that's essentially, you've just got some pads between the bones to stop them from rubbing against each other. Now, if we are in the curved over position, so like this guy over here, our vertebrae are being curved just like that, in a very weak position. So that's our vertebrae. And in between these vertebrae are a few pads. Still got the same amount of pads, but you can see, change to a nice orange now, you can see on this side right here, the pads aren't being crushed. There's a fair bit of room on that side, because the bones are kind of separate on that side, on this side here. So the pads are okay, they're just chilling, they got a bit of room to move, no effect. But then if you look on this side here, you can't even see the pads. The reason behind that is they are being crushed. Those pads between the bones are being crushed between the bones there on your spine, and all of this force from the legs that we mentioned earlier is going through here. It's crushing those pads. So eventually, when you get to 50, 60 years old, you're going to end up not like this muscle man here, not like a sexy 50-year-old. You're going to end up like a 50-year-old stuck in this position with one of those trolley things like this, and just cruising your way around the street, around the block. Maybe you might go for a light walk around the block every week. That'll be your main form of exercise. So we're trying to avoid this at all costs, and locking and removing those pads from happening. So we're trying to get a nice straight up and down position. You saw the couch potato earlier? What we're aiming for is this neutral position, as I said, where our spine is going straight up, perpendicular to the water. And as we progress and get stronger and stronger, we are aiming for this gymnast position where our lower back is actually curved in and our chest is out, so we can take a big deep breath and we can breathe at the catch and breathe at the finish. This is the strongest position. Obviously all our muscles in our back, there's a whole bunch of muscles behind here, they're going to get very sore very quickly if we try and go straight to that position, if you're used to being a couch potato especially. So, in our couch potato position there. So we're going to aim for neutral for now, for those guys that are a bit of a couch potato, and then progress into the gymnast position where our chest is out, our lower back is actually curved inward slightly, and into that strong position. Easy. Now I spoke about bum position. This is an Olympic rower from Japan. She is at the Olympic level, so she's obviously extremely good. But even so, her upper back is quite good here. Her lower back, though, is still quite curved. You see this little curve at the bottom here. Because she is sitting, only reason behind that is she is sitting on her coccyx. She's sitting on the back of her bum. We want to really be aiming to sit on the front of our bum where our thigh meets our bum, meets our gluteus maximus. So we're sitting on the front there. If you sort of do a squat, you can feel that little fold where the skin, where their thigh there meets the bum cheek on that side. There's a bit of a fold right there, and we want to be sitting on that. This is another Olympic rower from New Zealand. Same deal again. She's sitting on the back of her bum, which is causing this lower back to shoot out in this direction, if you can follow the cursor, and her upper back to curve around forward because she's trying to get reach there. Again, this is putting a huge amount of load on her vertebrae and her spine there. Cool. So the importance of bum position is huge. It's all we got to do is make sure we're sitting on the front of our bum. So if I've got my little seat here, we're sitting on the front of our bum, and when we're at the finish, same deal again, sitting in the front of our bum, just like that. Very simple and easy to do at the start of a race or the start of a training session. Just fix it up. Obviously it will feel weird, all of these things will feel weird the first time you do them, but just go for it and you'll be laughing. Right, let's just clear the page here. So, I also mentioned the effect this will have on your crew. So if your body position is not in the correct position, the effect it'll have on your crew here. So to start off with, you see this guy here, he's got a nice straight back, it's nice and neutral, he's pivoting at the hips. So if you've got a pivot point right here, pivot point there, he's pivoting from the hips. So pivot meaning that's sort of like his turning point. So that's where he's going to bend from, at the hips there. He's not going to bend in the lower part of his back here, like this gentleman here, our couch potato guy. He's going to be bending from right at his hip down the bottom there, keeping his back up nice and straight. Now he's going from the 11 o'clock position over here to the 1 o'clock position. Now for those who've never seen an analog clock before, this is our clock, just like that. That is 12 o'clock, that is 1 o'clock, and that is 11 o'clock. Beautiful. So then if we bring our rower into this, here is our hip, here is our body at the catch, that's the catch position, here is our body at the finish position, just there, that's the finish, that's the catch. Easy. He's going from the 1 o'clock position here to the 11 o'clock position back here. Super simple, super easy. Now if we're in an 8 and one guy is still back here and one guy is in the 12 o'clock position and one guy is in the, I don't even know what position, and one guy is in the good position, obviously you've got a whole bunch of guys at a whole bunch of different areas of the stroke. They're going to be taking the stroke all over the place, and it's not going to go down well for them. They're going to feel really weird. They're going to be completely out of time. They're going to start rushing through the drive. They're going to start rushing through the recovery to make up for it. Everything isn't going to go well for them on this side. If you have, I'm going to do this in green because it's good. If you have a whole bunch of guys in the 11 o'clock, sorry, the 1 o'clock position at the catch here, and that will flow through to the 11 o'clock position at the finish. They're all in the exact same position. When they take the stroke, it's all going to be perfectly in time. It is going to feel awesome, and they're going to have a good training session or a very efficient race when they race. So summing up, we want to make sure we are going from the 11 o'clock position to the 1 o'clock position, and we want to make sure our back is completely straight. So we are not forming a C with our back. We are not doing this. This is bad. Not doing this. We're keeping a nice straight back, and we're pivoting from the hips.